At exactly 12:13 a.m., my phone whispered my name, even though it was turned off. I stared at the black screen lying on my nightstand. There was no light, no vibration, just a soft voice drifting through my dark bedroom. Evan, I lived alone. Slowly, I reached for the phone. The moment my fingers touched it, the whisper stopped. The screen lit up by itself. No missed calls, no notifications. 12:13 a.m. Then another sound echoed through the apartment. 3 slow knocks. Not at the front door. From inside the hallway. My pulse spiked. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the darkness. Every room was empty, but the air felt strangely cold, carrying the scent of wet earth, as if someone had walked in from the rain. Another whisper floated past my ear. "Don't answer if you hear your own voice." I spun around. No one. My flashlight flickered, revealing muddy footprints leading toward the bathroom. They looked fresh, but they stopped halfway across the floor, ending where nothing stood. A loud crack echoed behind me. The bathroom mirror had fractured from the center without anyone touching it. Across the broken glass, words slowly appeared as though traced by an invisible finger. "It starts after midnight." Before I could move, every light in the apartment went out. The silence lasted only a heartbeat. Then every phone in my apartment, even an old one locked inside a drawer, began ringing at exactly the same time. One finally stopped. The others continued. A voicemail started playing by itself. The voice was mine. "If you're hearing this, don't stay awake until 12:17. The voicemail ended with one sentence. Then someone repeated it behind me. "Don't turn around." I froze. The voice hadn't come from my phone this time. It was close enough for me to feel warm breath brush against my neck. I turned anyway. The hallway was empty. Every ringing phone had gone silent. Then my bedroom door creaked open by itself. Inside, the cracked mirror reflected someone standing behind me. I spun around. Nothing. When I looked back at the mirror, the stranger was closer. His face remained hidden in darkness, but I could hear him whispering, "You're almost out of time." The digital clock changed. 12:14 a.m. A loud thud came from the apartment above mine. Impossible. The top floor had been abandoned for years after a fire. Another thud. Then slow footsteps crossed the ceiling, stopping directly over my bedroom. Dust drifted down as if someone was pacing back and forth. My phone vibrated again. A new voicemail, length 0008. I never pressed play. It started by itself. "If you hear footsteps above you," my own voice whispered, "hide before they stop." The footsteps ended instantly. Silence. Then came 3 slow knocks. Not from above, from inside my bedroom closet. The closet door eased open by itself, revealing only darkness. Something inside breathed. A pale hand slowly gripped the edge of the door. Before I could run, every whisper in the apartment merged into one voice. "We found you." The clock changed again. 12:15 a.m. and someone knocked on my apartment door, using the exact rhythm of my own heartbeat. The whisper came from inside my closet, and it knew the nightmare I hadn't told anyone. I couldn't breathe. The closet door was still closed, yet something inside scraped its nails across the wood. "You never told them what happened that night." The voice was mine. I grabbed the doorknob, but it felt freezing cold. Before I could pull it open, my bedroom light exploded into darkness. Only the digital clock remained. 12:17 a.m. Then every shadow in the room slowly shifted toward me. A soft knock echoed from the bedroom window. 3 taps. I lived on the 3rd floor. Heart pounding, I forced myself to look. A pale figure stood outside the glass, smiling as if gravity meant nothing. It raised one finger and pointed, not at me, but behind me. I turned. The closet door was open, empty. The whisper drifted through the room again. "Wrong direction." The voice now came from beneath my bed. My phone suddenly lit up with a live camera notification. Front door camera. Motion detected. With trembling hands, I opened the feed. Someone wearing my clothes stood on my front porch. He looked directly into the camera and smiled exactly the way I do. Then my phone rang. Incoming call. Me. I answered without thinking. A calm voice whispered, "Don't let him inside because you're already outside." The front door unlocked by itself and I watched myself walk in. I couldn't move. The man stepping through my apartment door had my face, my voice, even the scar above my left eyebrow. He quietly closed the door behind him and smiled as if he'd finally come home. "You stayed awake too long," he said. My phone slipped from my hand. The whispers vanished. The silence was worse. He walked past me without hesitation and headed toward the cracked bathroom mirror. Instead of reflecting him, the mirror reflected me, still standing frozen in the hallway. "Now, do you see?" he asked. The digital clock flashed. 12:16 a.m. Every light came back on for a single second. In that brief flash, dozens of shadowy figures stood around us, their faces hidden, each whispering my name. Darkness swallowed them again. My double reached into his pocket and pulled out an old apartment key covered in dried rust. "You've lived here for 3 years," he whispered. "I was trapped here long before you arrived." The bathroom mirror cracked wider. A cold hand emerged from inside the glass, then another, then dozens. The hands grabbed my double, but he didn't fight. He looked straight at me. "They're not coming for me anymore." The hands released him. Instead, every pale hand slowly turned toward me. My phone vibrated one last time. A final voicemail appeared. "Sender, tomorrow." With trembling fingers, I pressed play. My own terrified voice whispered, "If you're hearing this, midnight isn't ending." The clock changed. 12:17 a.m. and every whisper in the apartment suddenly stopped. The clock reached 12:17. Then every clock in the apartment disappeared. Time simply stopped. The whispers returned, but they no longer came from the walls. They came from me. I covered my mouth, yet the voices continued. "He's ready." The shadowy figures stepped out of the darkness, surrounding the room in complete silence. None of them had faces. Each held a broken clock, frozen at 12:17. The man with my face stood beside the shattered mirror. He wasn't smiling anymore. "I never wanted this," he whispered. "Neither will you." The mirror dissolved into blackness. On the other side wasn't another room. It was my apartment. Bright, normal. Morning sunlight poured through the windows. I saw my family laughing, my friends calling my name, my ordinary life continuing without me. Someone who looked exactly like me answered the phone. No one noticed anything different. The whispers grew louder. Every midnight, one life continues, another is forgotten. I stumbled toward the mirror, but invisible hands pulled me back. My double took one final step into the morning light. Before the mirror closed, he looked directly at me. "Thank you for waking up." The glass sealed shut. The apartment fell silent. The clocks were back. 11:58 p.m. I wasn't alone anymore. A frightened voice echoed from somewhere behind my bedroom wall. Is someone there?" It was a stranger. The same fear I had felt only minutes before filled every word. I closed my eyes for the first time. I answered the whisper. "Don't stay awake until 12:17.